Hello, I'm Bridget, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cowboy rope basket. You may see a lot of people online making zigzag sewn ones, and you might see people that are doing them with hot glue, but this one is the way that you see them do it on cowboy lariats. And the first time you do this, you do not want to buy a cowboy lariat and ruin it before you make the basket. So what I did was I bought a 50-foot roll of poly rope, which is the rope that they use in a lariat, and it's not a used one. So this is just new rope, and we can use it to practice the method used to make cowboy rope baskets. This is a basket I made just as a learner. It's just kind of cute. Now, if this was a real cowboy basket and it was a lariat, instead of just ending it up here, we would go down and have the loop from the lariat down in here, and would look all cowboy, and you'd use older beat-up rope. What I'm going to use to do my basket is a Weller solder gun. This is 140 watt. It's an older one. You can get them new at the hardware store for about 35 bucks. This one I got off of eBay. It works just great. So what we want to do is we want to take the beginning of our rope, and our rope is just a little bit frayed here because it's not. So we're going to melt the ends of the rope together with the hot solder gun. There we are. We just got the little frayed, loose stuff out of there. Okay, now we have a finished end. We're going to take it and we're going to bend it around in a circle, and we're going to put the hot solder gun between the rope. Okay, we're going to just get it to stick by melting it to itself. Okay. Then we're going to turn it a little more. It's still a little bit loose where this ends are. Okay. Now you find that the best places to melt the rope together are where two large places meet. And if you leave it too long, I've found that it kind of fries it out and it doesn't stick to itself. So I'm going to just hold it with the trigger here and then squish it over just a little bit, and I think I should have a good melt there between them. Nope. There. And just get it. And there we are. It's nice and melted. So as we turn it, we're looking for a place where the two big parts of the rope touch each other. And we're just going to melt them together. You kind of learn the amount of time needed. It's not a huge amount of time, but you don't want to make it too short either because it doesn't stick. Now what you want to avoid is getting big globs of gluey looking places. You want it to stay looking like a rope. You don't want to start melting it and making it look like melted plastic. You want it to look like a rope. So you just want to touch it between the two and get it out before you start melting too much. There. Now you can see what this little first part looks like. We've just done a little small circle here and basically melted it together. So I'm going to keep going until I've got the size that I want the bottom of the basket to be. Alright, in the interest of time, I'm just going to make a smallish basket. So I'm going to decide this is going to be big enough for the center of my bottom of my basket. A couple things I didn't mention when we started this video. This has to be a synthetic. It has to be a plastic rope. A natural jute or a cotton is not going to melt. Those you have to use a hot glue with. But this is a synthetic poly rope, and it will melt, so that's why we're using it. Second of all, you should probably be someplace where you have some kind of ventilation, a window open, be outside, something like that, because it is melted plastic. So the next step we're going to do now is we're going to come up and start up the sides. Now you got a couple options. I'm just going to do this freeform, but if you're not very brave, one option might be to use a mold to go inside or outside of a bowl or over a can, something like that. Like I said, I'm just going to go freeform. So I'm just going to do what I was doing before, but I'm going to start pulling the rope up. And getting it to go into the next row on it up. And actually it kind of gets a little easier when you're going up because the angle's a little better for melting. I hate to say that, but down flat it's hard to get between the ropes. Now if you melt too much of the plastic onto your iron, you're going to leave blobs of plastic. So if you've got something like a towel, or I'm just using the back of this label, you might wipe off the excess plastic. Okay, we have our first row going up. Done, and now I'll continue around here until I like the size of the basket. Alright, so we've come up 4 rows. This is just a small basket. In the interest of this video, I'm not going to make it as big as this basket, which wasn't a very big basket, but you will note that they're very sturdy baskets. So now we're at this point here where we have to decide what we're going to do at the end. On my first basket, I tapered the rope and just sort of made it come to a little stop up at the top. One option would be to put a handle on the basket and then come back around. A lot of the Lariat ones, what they do is they just finish the end and drop it down. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. I've cut the rope in 3 different lengths to kind of come up with a taper on here. And I'm going to mount the ends a bit and get them down to where they're sticking together. So by cutting off what I didn't like, now I've got the 3 pieces stuck together in kind of a tapered shape. So I'm going to continue putting my basket together like I was. And eventually my tail here is going to come around the outside of the basket. So I'm going to have to use a little bit of an angle here to get it to stick down. So I'll be sticking it to the outside basket. And it doesn't have to be stuck real firmly, just tacked in a few places so it's laying down. There we are. So in this particular basket, I kind of took a decorative edge and just went down around the bottom, and there it is. So this is a nice little basket. Now, the next time I do this, I'm going to get brave and I'm going to use a real lariat, and it already has an ending with a loop on it, so that loop would either come down here or up as a handle. So, if you're going to think of doing this, obviously I used a natural colored plastic rope, but you could use green, yellow, there's some that are woven multicolor, you can make ornate baskets. It'll all work with this, but remember, jute and cotton won't work, it'll only work on synthetics. So see you next time.